The first part of our talk is mindfulness. So now we come to our PDF. These are words by Stephen and Andrea Levine. Mindfulness teaches us the nature of the shadow. The shadow is our thoughts. Na? So mindfulness helps you to understand your thoughts. Mindfulness teaches us the nature of the shadow. Sorry, there's a misprint. It shouldn't be hurtfulness, it's heartfulness. Heartfulness teaches us the nature of the light. So, heartfulness is about feeling the light within us. Mindfulness is about understanding the shadow of our thoughts and not letting it stand in the way of feeling the light within us. Without these two qualities in balance, we will evolve either eyeless in darkness or blinded by the light. Yeah, so we need both these to really walk the path. Now, one of the mindfulness is actually a term very endemic to Buddhism, right? Buddhism is revolving around mindfulness. And Buddhism has a practice called Zazen. Zazen simply means sitting. And if all of you can practice start with 5 minutes of Zazen every day, build it up to 12 minutes, it's a transforming practice. I'll explain why. Zazen is nothing but watching the breath. And you'll tell me, what's the big deal in watching the breath? I'd rather focus in my heart on the mother. Sure, that is the highest. But for most of you, how long can you really focus in the heart on the mother? You'll focus 2 breaths, then your mind will go somewhere else. 5 minutes you'll wander somewhere, then you'll come back. So you need some control over your thoughts even to really focus properly and deeply in the heart, isn't it? And every time you practice Zazen, you're actually rewiring your brain. You're actually accessing neuroplasticity. Let me explain why. For every recurring thought pattern, for example, if I have a recurring thought pattern that I'm always being put down, people are always negative and critical to me, and they are always doing this to me. So every time you think like this, there are neural circuits in your brain. Your brain is full of electrical pathways. So whenever you think like that, electrical impulses flow along that pathway, hardwiring that circuit. So every time you give in to this feeling, whatever it is, whether it's a feeling of jealousy, inadequacy, those circuits get more and more hardwired. The more hardwired they get, the more often you'll feel these negative emotions again and again, right? So, whenever you're practicing Zazen and that thought comes up, now if you practice 12 minutes of Zazen every day, and I'm telling you from experience, you've made a relationship with your breath. Then whenever a negative thought comes, that relationship will jump to your rescue. Something in you will naturally go to your breath. And the moment you choose your breath over that negative thought pattern, they prove this scientifically. That neural pathway for that particular emotion gets weaker. And every time you don't give in to it and you feed your breath, that neural pathway gets weaker and weaker and weaker until one day you won't feel it. And that's your liberation. See, the point is, there's no enemy outside, or most often times there's no enemy outside. But if you've gotten into the habit of seeing enemies because of your neural conditioning, you will see them and manifest them, isn't it? So it's important to work with breath awareness, because that's what will actually, a properly practiced breath awareness sit opens the doors to the light within. I would go as far as saying that you're not just watching your breath. See, you're already the light, you can't create it, but you have to find it, and what covers it is your thoughts. So let's just sit, I'll put my timer, let's just sit 3 minutes for the practice of Zazen. Just now we'll sit just 3 minutes, but it'll be wonderful if you make it a habit to put your timer, sit for 5 minutes, eventually increase it to 12 minutes. Whenever you're upset, instead of running here and there, just do 5 minutes of Zazen, then remember Mother. Sometimes when you're upset and you try to remember Mother, you can't, because every second breath your mind goes to the upset, isn't it? So it's good to get your mind under control. So first just listen. So Zazen is about watching your breath in the belly. You can put your hands on the belly if you like. You'll all notice as you inhale, the belly comes out. As you exhale, the belly goes in. Now on the exhalation, you count it as breath number 1. Second time you breathe, you count on the exhalation, you count it as breath number 2. Once you reach 10, you come back to 1. It's as simple as that, but it's not as simple as that, because what you have to do while practicing Zazen is, you'll notice that there are parallel streams of thoughts. You don't have to fight with the thoughts. You don't have to wish thoughts away, because whatever you resist will persist. You have to allow the thoughts but come back to your breath. So 3 rules of Zazen: be still, allow and come back. That's all you have to do. Okay? And remember that when you're practicing this, it's not just the breath. The breath is a gate to come closer to your truth. So I'm going to set my timer for 3 minutes. Sit tall, posture is important. If it helps you to put your hands on your belly, then put it. If you can feel the breath without the palms, but in the beginning it's always nice to put the palms. Less than a minute left. Keep at it. Complete this last breath and your 3 minutes are over. So maybe 3 minutes is too small, too little time, but if you do it for 5 minutes and eventually for 12 minutes, you'll see, if you're feeling restless or agitated, at the end of the 12 minutes you'll always come out feeling better. I guarantee, if you build this up. And if you do this practice regularly, it becomes part of you. See, here also when you got agitating thoughts, hopefully you remember to let it be and come back to your breath, isn't it? So you're making that neural pathway. Since you've already made it, next time in day-to-day living when an agitating thought comes, you'll see that something in you will go to your breath, because you've trained your nervous system to go to your breath rather than agitation. So it's a very, very important and useful practice to do. But if you haven't made it part of your daily practice, then when you're agitated and you go to your breath, it may or may not work because you haven't carved that neural pathway in your nervous system. Yeah.